Welcome all to the New Dream Podcast. I'm Sarah Grady, and as Bryce Savage's song states, I'm a Pisces with no fake love here. My soul felt deeply called to create the New Dream movement of unconditional love and support for all, so here we are. Whether you're here for the stories, engaging authentic conversations, to discover new tools to create change in your life, or just the unconditional love and support that's felt, know that you are beyond welcomed. Take what fits for you, leave the rest, because life is yours to live and your heart will know the way. Let's get started creating our new dreams. This episode puts the spotlight on Gloria, who lives in Mumbai, India. This beautiful soul has been spending her time working as a media professional in humanitarian and faith-based organizations. Now, she wants to share a piece of her story with the world and continue sharing her beautiful light in hopes that she can be an inspiration to others in connecting with their own inner light. I am so grateful she felt the unconditional love and support this container provides, and it was such an honor and a privilege to be a part of her journey. Celebrate Gloria in this beautiful moment. Welcome, welcome. Today's guest is Gloria. I cannot wait to hear a little bit about you and your journey and your story. Can you let our viewers know, where is your beautiful place in this world?
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much, Sarah, for having me on your show and
Absolutely.
sending me an invite to be a part of this wonderful space and the container that you're creating. And so I am Gloria, and I'm from India. I come from this spiritual hub of India, and I'm from Mumbai. I
Love
have
that.
been working in as a media professional in humanitarian organizations and faith based organizations. So basically, international nonprofits.
Ooh,
And my work has mainly been around working into spreading awareness and working in the media trajectory around humanitarian issues, advocacy, and social injustice issues. And that's how pretty much it has been so far.
I love that. So you're
Thank you.
you're holding space for people in your own beautiful way over there too.
Yes, I mean, I am trying to, striving to still make a difference and serve people in my capacity.
I love that. You have a beautiful energy. I'm all about it. So we met because we're going through our own growth journeys, and we were a part of a beautiful container group that we were all just learning all these different modalities, and we were able to connect in that beautiful space. It gets me curious, like, what started your growth journey?
Uh, well, it's pretty interesting question, and I always wished, that I could have this conversation with someone, and where I could have the opportunity to share my story. And I'm glad we crossed paths. So, I mean,
Makes my heart
my
happy.
healing journey and my yes, same here. So my healing and my spiritual journey started like during the pandemic, where everything was shifting, and there was a lot of shift in terms of energy that was happening worldwide, everywhere, and that's when that was this moment of epiphany, and that's when my journey began, my self healing journey. And it actually happened when I went through a relationship which which was more of a catalyst relationship, and
Mhm.
it had a very immense impact on my on myself and in terms, but it has really propelled my healing journey and my self growth. And I'll always be grateful for that broken relationship, because it was pretty much intense, that it was really difficult for me to get over that relationship.
Mhm.
However, I really thank the universe, and I really thank my archangels and everyone who has been supported me on my journey. So that's when it began, and these things like synchronicities, I started seeing numbers. I started having telepathic dreams with my partner, about my partner sending me messages across, and it was pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
So it was also overwhelming because I started coming across concepts like twin flames, soulmates, then karmic connections, catalyst bonds, and I started getting more curious about it as to what exactly this is and why is this all happening.
Right.
That's when I started bumping into different I started reading a lot. I started researching, and I started having these moments of epiphany. And then then slowly the pieces of puzzles, they started to make sense to me.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a learning process and a learning every day for me, and it's very beautiful.
Absolutely. Can you explain? Because I've never heard the term catalyst relationship. Can you explain what that is a little
Okay,
bit?
so all right. So just a disclaimer that I'm not a professional, and it's just
Right.
by my research and my learning that has been so far.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically those relationships and those people who come into your life who are actually meant to propel your inner growth process,
Mm-hmm.
who come into your life for that purpose itself. So that's how it
Okay.
is.
I love
And
that.
yes, so they help you to work upon your do some shadow work, help heal. They surface your traumas, they surface your insecurities,
Right.
your each and every issue that you had, basically, which you have not been embracing, and you kept it suppressing in this lifetime, I mean, in up till now, until this
Right.
age. So that's how these catalyst relationships, they come, and they are meant to stay for a purpose, I mean, for a frame of time, and then they go away. And
Right.
this can be pretty intense. That's what I learned. And as I was researching about my bond with my so-called ex, I realized that I went a lot into tarot.
Oh,
I
I love it.
went into a lot of, yes, because I wanted to know what exactly is this bond all about, because I've never had a bond which was so intense and so strong. And I started reaching out to psychics and clairvoyant, and many people, they told me that it's a karmic bond, it's a past life connect and stuff like that, which I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't believe, up till certain point. And I was like, I mean, I'm just a normal creature, a normal human being, and it was something that really bewildered me. And but I started to absorb myself into it. And yeah, it's pretty much, it was very difficult for me at a point to get myself to accept the fact that it's not going to stay forever with me. And I almost went into depression. I gave up eating, and it was a very bad state. So
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty much. But however, I saw a therapist, and not one but many therapists with whom I could find resonance with, because it's not quite easy to find a therapist with whom you can find a sync with and whom you can resonate with. So I
Absolutely.
went to a couple of therapists. I started journaling, and that's when I also found my love for painting, because that's when I started realizing and I understood that that's one medium where I felt safe and not judged by
Mm-hmm.
people. I felt that okay, there is some space and some zone where I can put myself into, where I can just be myself,
Yep.
and that is one component. And it's a beautiful journey. So whenever if I want to express myself, I just get into painting, And besides that, I'm still peeling the layers of, what
Yep.
exactly intrigues me and interests me, and in terms of other creative forms, that is the yin energy. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. I'm so glad that you found like a place that is safe for you to be able to speak your truth and get your thoughts and your feelings out even like on canvas. Because then as you do that, like you're going to be able to move forward and then your voice is going to follow along with it because you're giving
Yes, and
yourself that time.
I'm also glad that I crossed paths with you, because and on such platforms I can actually make myself, I feel heard, I feel seen, and really
Absolutely.
gratitude to you.
Oh, thank you. That's exactly what I want on here. People feeling seen and heard because that's where I struggled in my journey is I wasn't feeling seen, I wasn't feeling heard, I wasn't feeling safe to express my true authentic self. And when you're not feeling safe, it's hard to come out of that shell. And everyone deserves to see the beauty of Gloria. Like you are a beautiful soul on this planet. You have a special gift to share. And I'm grateful to be a part of that journey for you.
Thank you so
So,
much. I'm truly humbled.
absolutely. So, explain a little bit. So, like you found that so catalyst relationship, like in my terminology, I always call those the lessons. So I love that
Yes.
there's a different term for it. So then I can connect with others and be like, oh, now I understand what you're saying because it's just different word choice. Um, did you find that throughout your journey, like from your childhood moving forward, it almost like a pattern, like you kept finding people like that, or was this the very first relationship that really sank in those hard lessons?
Okay, so this is a very significant phase of my life,
Hmm.
my childhood, where I now realize and identify that, uh, usually I was born, I most of the time I spent time with my aunt. That's my
Hmm.
mother's sister, and I have fond memories with her. And, there was this time when she had to go back to my granny's house. And my mom was pretty much workaholic. She was a nurse. She was caught up with her work and always busy with her, her work appointments. And at some point, my aunt, whom I shared fond memories with, she was taken away from me,
Mm,
and which left me quite traumatized. Yes.
right.
And I recollect now, I should write letters to her. I it was it's a very painful memory, I would say,
Right.
that it's like she was like my second mother. She still is. I mean, and she was just taken away, and because she had her responsibilities at my granny's house, and it was like this vacuum that was created, I would say, and which was quite a void to fill,
Right.
so fast forward ahead, when I started growing up, I think I unconsciously somewhere started um, to find to fill up that the void in
Hmm.
all the relationships that I had.
Right.
So yes, there were many relationships that I had, where I realized that I used to attract men who were emotionally unavailable, or either I kept on attracting men who were narcissist, or toxic men or toxic relationships, and I only wanted to kind of fill the void between inside of me. I I had this codependent tendency.
Yep.
Yes. So that's what I realize now, after taking couple of courses and about attachment theories and learning about that, and how to transition from an anxious avoidant and dismissive to secure. And that's how that it's been a journey. And I had actually forgotten the art of, I mean, I was never taught how to be vulnerable in a
Right.
relationship, because I never saw that atmosphere in my house, even
Right.
between my mom and my dad. I did not see that kind of a, that bond, or nor do I remember any moment or any memory where we spend vacations together. So it and whenever I used to hear stories from my friends that, oh, we went for a holiday, to this destination, and my parents have gone out for a coffee, I should really, I used to wonder as to why. I mean, like, what is it? I mean, I never recollect myself in that, with that moment or with that memory, of having this that togetherness. So that
Right.
really also affected me and kept me away from being vulnerable, and it held me back from the art of articulating your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of started to get dismissive and anxious, and at the same time, because I did not know. I just What I
Right.
learned was only, to keep the person on a pedestal,
Yep.
just because I had to keep him with me. And that's how the pattern kept on continuing. I never prioritized my emotional needs when
Yep.
it came to relationships. So, which was quite a learning and a transition for me. But now when I see and I have learned that, okay, I do have some value to me, and I do have some, this, when I learn about this fact called boundaries, and I have learned to step down my foot and say that, okay, you know what, this is not acceptable to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely different tangent, and it is so empowering, and it's so it gives a completely different, um, persona of who you are to the opposite person. Yeah, it's it's just a beautiful thing that I learned, that to actually keep yourself first, and not keep the other person on a pedestal only because you have to keep that person held on to you for your emotional needs. Rather, it's you who are, you know responsible for your own needs. Yeah.
Oh, I got chills through that entire story. I just want you to know, like, you explained my journey. Like,
Right.
I call myself a recovering codependent people pleaser because mine was very, very similar. And you're
Okay.
right. You, we learn that we need to use the things outside of ourselves to fill up our own needs and to fill ourselves up. And if the stuff on the outside isn't okay, then we're not okay. But it's
Yes.
quite the opposite. Like if we're not okay
Yes.
inside, then nothing on the outside is going to be okay either.
Yes.
So I'm
Absolutely.
so glad that you found that. So was there like, so you said this relationship, this very intense karmic relationship was what really changed that. Was there like a significant event that caused it, or was it just like you started noticing, like, okay, I'm not taking care of me, like, I'm unhappy? Like, was it really your body finally was like, hey, girl, you, you are not okay? So you finally started like seeking other modalities to figure it out?
No, the thing that really caught my attention about this bond was that I used to sense things. I started sensing as to what he's trying to tell me. And the most significant memory that I hold is, I the telepathic messages that I used to get. I used
Okay.
to dream about what he wants to tell me, and the same thing used to happen. I know it may sound creepy, the very,
No.
I mean, the very day. Because, and it really was like, what is this happening? And who is this person? And yeah, that was pretty much of it. That one episode, where my dream was in sync with what actually happened, was like, it really took pull the rug out of my, I mean, it swayed away from my feet. And the fact that it triggered all these elements, my wounded childhood, and the fact that he's married now to someone else,
Hmm.
and the kind of the moment of separation that was happening. There was this cold, hot and cold episodes where there was this moment of silence, like, between the two of us. it
Hmm.
it really triggered the hell out of me.
Love
It
it.
kept on making me think and contemplate as to what is it, because I knew something intense was going on, which
Hmm.
was not like the other relationships that I had.
So you were
So
starting to wake up a bit, like you were coming into your
yes,
spiritual gifts and actually hearing like what your inner energy had to tell you, and that's
yes,
amazing. I think I
yeah,
found like during the time of the pandemic, I feel like the times just changed with that. Like everyone
absolutely.
was broken wide open, and if you were not okay, like you figured that out.
Hmm. Yes, exactly.
I love that. So once this started happening and you started realizing like I need to make changes and you started seeing a therapist, did you continue with like an educational journey? Like were you like looking for different webinars, or like did you just find yourself seeking all the information?
Yes, there was a lot of reading, a lot of podcasts, a lot of meditation, a
Mhm.
lot of. I started practicing a lot of grounding.
Oh,
I
yes.
started being more in nature and started to go for treks, because that gave me some fresh air to breathe,
Hmm.
and I started enjoying being in touch
Oh,
with
there we go.
yes, with the mud and with the soil and the plants. And yeah, I'm still yet to explore the water element though. But yes, this has been quite a component of, grounding myself, because I remember one episode, one instance where I had been to my sister's house, which she stays in another province in India,
Mhm.
in another state, and she has a big garden. So we were planting trees. I mean, we were just planting some saplings, and we were. I was barefoot, and these guys had no idea as to what's happening in my life. They just knew I was at a duty station. I was working, and something was up with me, but I never told them anything about my personal life. But then, the moment I was gardening, the moment I was in touch with, uh, I was barefoot, and I came back inside the room, and I just wept. I broke down. And I don't know what happened to me at that point. But now, when I look back at that moment, I was like, I was unstoppable in tears. And that's when I narrated my entire episode and whatever was happening, and falana, falana. And I was like, okay, this is what has been happening. And yeah, and I just spoke it out because I so wanted to be heard, and I wanted some safe container, which I which I didn't feel at any point I got that in my home space.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that I believe it's more of, you know, being in touch with nature. That's what helped me, vent myself. So yeah, that's what it is pretty much.
I that is so beautiful. Like, and that you were in this beautiful garden and it gave you this space of like, okay, I'm safe to release this now. This is too heavy. We're
Yeah,
done.
I mean,
We're
that's one elemental, I mean, example which has been quite profound, in my healing
right.
journey, where it just, well, I was like, my cup is overfilled, and I'm like about to just get it out. Yeah.
I like to use the term with my kids a lot of the volcano has now erupted. Like we're done.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely spot on.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you've been like, I try not to say glad. So for me, like, I look at these things as a positive because, yes, I am aware, like, in those moments, I'm sure you were utterly wrecked that day. Like, you just, I can assume, like, almost like to a point of exhaustion. Like, the emotions are so intense and they really can overwhelm the heck out of you. But when you honor that and you take that time to really, like you said, ground yourself in nature and come back to the present of here I am right now. I am safe. I've got myself. I can hold space for myself. Releasing that on the other side is just so much lighter and beautiful. But life's so busy, it's almost like until we get to the volcano status, it's like we don't take that time intentionally to sit down and like, let me release some of this.
Yes, I totally
I
agree with that.
I love that. So, let me let's see. Okay, so you stated that you were interested in early childhood development. Now, is that something
Yes.
that just started because of like your learning journey and like where you're coming and you want to help others? Or is it more like you want to use that to work together with your humanitarian efforts of like creating change in the world?
I would say it's just the humanitarian aspect of my work has been like an added plus point to what I want to do exactly. Because I
Mm-hmm.
believe the humanitarian aspect happened to me just because it wasn't decided. My
Mm-hmm.
dad has been into humanitarian, and I guess it's in the blood, I would say.
Yeah.
And that's why, went into the line. But right now, I feel the purpose to serve. And, since I understand the repercussions of having a wounded childhood
Mm-hmm.
and the repercussions of it in adulthood and the incapacity of a young adult to make decisions for his or her own self and to make the right choices
Mm-hmm.
uh, due to a wounded early childhood developmental phase. I believe that is where my interest lies. And it's a very significant a phase, the early childhood development. And that's why I feel that, it's very important for a child to be nurtured into a safe container,
Mm-hmm.
especially in these times of war and migration and displacement and so many
Absolutely.
things happening. And children are like, they are, I mean, there's a lot of confusion and chaos going around in today's Gen Z, as we could say, the generation. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would really I'm really interested and keen on, in my capacity, whatever, to serve and, build a community and be a part of a community where I can bring up safe kids and safe adults and yeah, and secure adults, because that's very important for a better tomorrow.
Your energy is so beautiful. Like you have experienced so much. Like I can feel it in your story and I can absolutely empathize with how hard that journey had to have been. Like going through codependency and people pleasing and not feeling emotionally safe to express your needs or express what you feel. it is one of those spaces that is just so overwhelming and exhausting. And it's like, well, I have to do this all myself then. So then you're doing it alone. And life
Yes.
is so lonely alone. And I
Yes,
love,
indeed.
go ahead.
The worst part about it is that you have this feeling of forlornness. You feel that, okay,
Hmm.
you are, completely, yeah, you're forlorn. You're basically, you don't have anyone to love you or someone who
Yeah.
can be around you and who can support you. Because I
Yeah.
remember making those in those worst, the craziest of choices that I've made and the repercussions that I had to face. I remember trying to fix those things were and all by myself. It was a big it was a big giant wheel in a circus. Yes. And all I could do was, I only have my friends, okay?
Hmm.
And I'm really grateful and blessed to have my beautiful friends because they were the only people and they're the only people who know me inside out. And they've been through and through and stayed by me and tolerated all the mess that I have been through and still which I am and each day as I say is a learning day.
Hmm.
So they've been pretty much patient with me and I am really blessed to have them.
Oh,
Yeah, I would just say that.
it's so good because it's so hard to change that, like letting people in, like
Absolutely.
when you finally do it, I can feel the joy and the beauty that just radiates off you when you talk about them. And that's life. Like that is where life is supposed to be, in my opinion. Like we are, yes,
Yeah.
there's pain, yes, there's heartache, there's a lot of negative stuff in the world, but it's not
Yes.
all negative, and we can experience joy and happiness, and we just got to look for it and be open to it,
Yes.
open to receiving.
Open to receive. Yes.
Yep.
Bingo.
S-
Yes.
Okay, so how are you feeling in this moment today? Like going through this journey, and like obviously you're still in it. We're all still in the journey. Like we still all have more to learn and do and grow, and but right now where you're at, like how do you feel with how far you've come?
I am I'm blessed for whatever has happened. I'm grateful for whatever's happened. I'm
Hmm.
blessed to have the kind of supportive friends that I've had, for the patience and the support that they've shown me. And though we might not be in touch, at this point, everyone might be busy in their own lives
Hmm.
and on their own healing journeys. But I admire the presence that they've shown me,
Hmm.
and I would say I'm in a better position mentally, emotionally, and I'm more open to the universe to receive more and learn more. And yes, there are days, when you have those triggers and you do have those little bit of waves and bumps in the road, those low days.
Yep.
But I've learned to handle it um in a better way and to tune into, to just step back, breathe, and identify as to from what space exactly are those triggers coming from.
Hmm.
Yes.
To see what it's showing you and what you can learn from it. I love it.
Yes.
I love it so much. Do you have any advice for our listeners that may resonate with your story and kind of experience, like probably like experience the same things that you did? What is one thing that you would tell them in the beginning of their journey? Like the pivotal best advice you can offer?
All right. So I would always say one thing, always choose love over fear
Hmm.
because fear is something, it's only in your mind and your mind will try to control you. But if you choose love, you can conquer anything. You need to tell yourself constantly that you you need to just choose love and follow the path of love, and everything will the doors will open to, you know, to the universe and to reception and to eternity. Yes. It's just your mind that's lying to you.
Well, trying to keep us safe.
Yes.
But do we want to be safe anymore or do we want to thrive?
Oh yes, that too. But yeah, that's important. Is that when with freedom comes responsibility as well. But
Yep,
you need to always understand that, you know, you don't let your mind to control you.
yep,
Instead, you need to control your mind, because the moment your mind starts controlling you, everything goes for a toss.
yep.
Yeah.
100%. Or you stop moving.
Yes. Yes. In terms of practicality, it's fine, but at some point, you need to also take control of certain aspects in it.
Yep. For full purpose and full fulfillment in life. If you're looking for fulfillment,
Yes.
that's a good place to
Yes.
start. I appreciate that.
Indeed.
So I have one question that I really like to ask every guest that is on the show. When you hear the phrase the new dream, what does it make you think of?
All right. So the new dream, it makes me, I can imagine a new space that's been created by you for yourself, and in authenticity, not by any limited beliefs, not by any projections, not by uh, not by something that's going to hold you back, but it's a space, it's a container that you're creating for your own self, because everything begins with the self. So it's all about you. It's just like a painting, you know. When you see a painting, you know, it doesn't really matter whether how the opposite person is going to, how is it going to turn out to be, basically.
Right.
It's only the person and his projections that are going to be projected onto the painting. And he's going to understand that because it's his interpretation, it's his energy. And what is created is a different scenario by the artist itself himself.
Oh, you just gave me chills. I I love your interpretation. So
Thank you so much.
do you paint daily? I have to ask.
Not daily, but yeah, whenever I feel like painting, I do paint.
Do you
And
share do you share any of your pieces?
I do have a couple of my artwork on my social media handle, so
Yeah,
on my Instagram, and
perfect.
that's what.
Now, if others wanted to reach out and follow you and be a part of your story and your journey, is there a place where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram,
Okay.
and so I can share my Insta handle with you.
Yeah, I'll put it in
It
the
is,
bio. I just wanted to let
yeah, sure.
others let the viewers know that it will be there and they can follow you on Instagram. And
Yes,
I am so looking forward to seeing where this journey takes you. And I'm so grateful that you wanted to be on the show and for sharing your beautiful energy and sharing your story. You know, it's so powerful giving space and just hearing where other people are at. And I'm just so grateful to you.
thank you so much. My pleasure. And
Thank
I'm
you.
grateful to you for creating this space for for both of us, so that
Mhm.
we can hear each other out, and Yes, because that's what is important.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I cannot wait to have you back on again. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Got those pretty eyes that